So now you are a person, a purpose-driven person. Okay.
Yes.
So, I mean, the things we just talked about have given me a glimpse of what that means. But tell my audience a little bit more about that. What does being a purpose-driven person, who is that, and what other multiple professional activities you are engaged in?
Yeah. Yes. So purpose driven in firstly in a spiritual manner, which is why I was glad when you mentioned spirituality earlier, because I thought you might understand if I were to bring spirituality into
I'm
the
not really,
picture.
I am not religious, but
I understand.
good.
Yeah. So I've come to realize or learn that we all have a purpose to serve in this world, right? Whether you know it or not, there's a purpose that you are meant to serve that is in line with your talent, your strengths, those things that you are very good at. And while everyone else is struggling to do, you just happen to do them with ease.
Yeah.
You know, very much often our purpose is aligned with those things. I've come to learn, and I've grown to be curious about myself. Something I still am. I'm one person who's very curious about himself. I never stop learning myself. And so I reached a point where I sort of discovered my purpose, that what is it that I'm meant to contribute into this world.
Yeah.
And I've seen that as my niche. While there's a lot of things that I can do, a lot of opportunities that I can explore, a lot of challenges that I can say, I'm going to tackle this one, I've come to learn that I have my own niche that I should focus on.
Okay.
And that aligns with my identity, my strengths, my skills, and all that. And surprisingly, also aligning with my past experiences. So, which now brought me to that thing of saying purpose driven.
Yeah.
It means that I don't just involve myself in everything and anything, but I've found my own focus in terms where I can make my contribution.
Yeah.
And if I'm now focused on that, I'm going to give it my best, because everything else is not going to take my attention, right? My attention will be focused to that thing or that those one or two.
So if you agree that everyone has a purpose, even if we don't know what that purpose is in our lives, how did you find yours? And I'm just asking you so that my audience, if they want to find theirs, they can follow the simple steps you took to find yours.
Yes. So firstly, I mentioned talents, skills, all those things you're good at. It started there. You know, I'm very good at teaching. I don't want to limit to teaching. I like to categorize it as within the concept of ETD, education, training, and development.
Okay.
So years back, I've learned that my superpowers are in that area of helping people develop into their best selves. And I've realized that I was also inclined to such opportunities. Hence, I served in the education space through non-profit organizations since 5 years back. So I've always seen those opportunities as more appealing, because I knew I am my best self when I'm in that space. The way they make me feel, when I'm in that space, when I'm in a class with learners, when I'm with a group of learners, when we are talking about growth and personal development, the way I feel so alive, I believe we all have that one thing where when you are doing this thing, you feel so alive, you feel like you just don't want to let it go. And so from that, I raised more questions, right? I spoke about curiosity.
Yeah.
I raised more questions, and I'm a deeply spiritual person and religious as well. I'm a Christian. And so I bring spirituality in everything I do.
Yeah.
From that now, I had serious conversations with God, in terms of who I am.
Yeah.
And what I am. And I got my revelations, my confirmations, that the very same space that you feel much alive in, you're so inclined to, that the things in that space seem so appealing.
Yeah.
Those things that you are very good at, including your past experiences in terms of educational background and all that. It's not a coincidence, all those things. They are all connected, and that's who you are meant to be. This was now a spiritual thing, right? Which I'm not going to dive deeper into it, because it's a religious topic. I know.
See, so, I understand what the process you have gone through, and it's something I encourage all my coaching clients to go through. See, it's profound to go through that process and land where you land. It's different for everybody, but it's if you haven't gone through that process, you don't know what you're missing. Okay, it might be traumatic. Okay, because for many people I've seen, they might not want to believe where they're being led to.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, it happens. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But once they finally admit that this is where I'm supposed to be, their life will be more. I won't say easy, but they'll be more comfortable
and more clear.
Yeah.
Clarity. Yeah. Allow me to share a bit on that.
Oh, because go on.
You understand what I'm talking about, and
I've gone through it.
I suspect you know something about me, because what you're saying speaks to what I went through. It was exactly that. I was in denial for a very long time. Where I was being led, I didn't want to admit. Before I started having these conversations with God about who I am and what I am, it was after I realized that I've been stubborn for too long and I need to start listening to God. And that's because I saw where I was being led, but I didn't want to go. In the education space, when I'm in this space, I feel alive, I know the things I'm very good at, but I still said, I don't want to do this. my parents, I don't know how many times they said to me, why can't you be a teacher? I don't know how many people said to me, are you going to do a teaching qualification? Why don't you be a teacher? Why don't you be an educator? Many people calling me principal. I'm like, and those are the small things that I picked up as messages together with the other things. And I was in denial. Even so, I was in denial and said, no, I'm into business and entrepreneurship. I want to be a businessman. I want to.
Who says you can't be a teacher? You can't be a teacher in that space.
I didn't know, Yeah. So I was like, mine is economic development, economic contribution. I don't want education until I had to stop being stubborn because things were not working, And
I'm glad you stopped being stubborn, because the only thing that has happened to people like me is that life will deal with you.
Indeed, life will deal with you. Life will deal with you very hard.
Anyway, let's go in another direction.
Yes.